Johnson, and this is Focus on Liberia. Hit it! From Cape Mount to Cape Palmer, Mount Nimba to Atlantic Ocean, Obomi Hills to Pocondre, to educate, elevate, and promote. Talk about home affairs, in diaspora, current affairs, reliable information, history, talking about culture, politics, education, entertainment, business, sports, advertisement, articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Judicious.
Thank you and welcome to Focus on Liberia. This is, of course, Friday night debate where we debate serious issues about our country, Liberia. Welcome. If you are just joining us, welcome and welcome. Please do us a favor and share the broadcast with somebody, and we would definitely appreciate that. We are here on yet another debate. This time, in a very substantive way, we want to look at, national issues. Seated and ready for this debate is Dr. Clarence Pearson. He is Focus on Liberia new progressive commentator. Dr. Pearson, welcome. It's good to have you.
Thank you, Dennis. It's a pleasure being on the show tonight. I've been off for a couple of days now. Missed the show a lot. I want to say hi to our viewers out there, Mr. C. Hi to our viewers out there, and I'm excited to get into this topic.
And myself, I am extremely excited about the discussion, and folks, we are expecting some of our debaters. We are hoping they will be joining us very soon. They have confirmed for the debate, and so we don't see why they will not be here, for they are always here and they confirm to be here. So we are expecting them to be part of this all important debate. So the focus of the debate, is centered on two things. We want to look at the current electoral and political system that we have. Is it able to produce the kind of leaders that we need as a country that will transform our country? We've been having election, we have a political and electoral system that work hands in hands, and through it we've been producing leaders from presidents to senators and representatives. Is this system going to give us the kind of leaders? The leaders this system has given us over the past elections? Are these or are they the kind of leaders that we need? If someone wants to argue that no, that system has not been giving us the kind of leaders Liberia needs, then what do we do? For now, that's why we depend on to decide who becomes president, who becomes a representative, and who also becomes a senator. Has this system been producing the kind of leaders that we want? Or is it not that the system is not the problem? Is it that the people who have been voting the problem? Or is it that the leaders who put themselves forth are the problem? But our focus is whether or not we have a system that is giving us or will produce the kind of leaders that we need. That is the first line of debate for this debate tonight. The second one will be focusing on development. Here we are, we are trying to say, well, other countries are making significant progress. We're seeing massive capital investment projects in other countries. And, many countries are becoming much more economically, dependent on themselves. Why we more like trying to rely on donor aids, IMF, and all of these loans. Some are predatory loans. Some people will argue. So how can we come to become much more, economically independent and progress massively in terms of capital investment, infrastructure, our schools and so on and so forth. That is the debate that we want to have today. And so having set the stage, we want to welcome J. Victor Namwe. J. Victor Namwe is focused on Liberia political analyst. Mr. Namwe, welcome to the debate.
Hey, Anthony, what's up, my brother? It's good to be here. Dr. Pearson, hope you're enjoying the tropical weather. It's good to see you with all the new look, the new haircut, and all. And let me take this time to also welcome our audience. It's good to be here.
Mm-hmm. All right, Mr. Namwe, you are right. The man is in the motherland. He's all fresh and he's eating all organic. But
even the haircut is organic, right?
Let me allow him to respond to your comment there.
Yeah, Mr. Nangwe, it's a pleasure seeing you on tonight. And I think it's been a while since I came on, and I really did miss the show. In Liberia, data is gold. You get it, you use it. It's not enough, and if you don't use it, you lose it. So we're between the scissors.
Yeah, and Evan Morris, Gabriel, if you are listening to the show, we send a link. I send a link to everybody. Look in your personal WhatsApp is there. It's also in the chat room. I did my best to get the information to all of you on time. Somebody asked at the time, and I provided the time. The time is emphatic. It's 7 p.m. Eastern time. So we want everybody to be here for us to go into the debate. Gabriel is asking for the link, but let's get started here. Mr. Namwe, our first focus here is on whether or not our current electoral and political system can produce, is able to produce, is set and structured to produce the kind of leaders that we need, for the transformation and development that we need in our country. You have been around, you fought for the kind of system, you advocated for it. You think this system can produce in their day and age and time the kind of leaders that we need?
I think the system. I mean, it has. Looking at the electoral system, for instance, I think they've done a pretty okay job over the past couple of election cycles, especially the most recent one where we saw an incumbent losing, and without the elections commission being swayed. I think that was a lot of credit to the elections commission. So I think there's some evidence there that they're capable of of managing the process to produce leaders. Now, as to whether the political system itself, is capable of producing the kind of leaders that we need, that is a difficult question. I think one part of it is on the electorate. I think we the politicians in the political space, we need to do a better job of sharpening the issues for our people to clearly see what the issues are, so that people are voted into office, not based on aesthetics, not based on the biggest convoy, not based on the biggest truck of food, so that our people will begin to separate, the bad apple from the good apple, and elect into office people who present and demonstrate the capacity and ability and willingness to change the system, to change our prevailing conditions, to improve our well-being. But I think we haven't got there yet. But I think we're getting there. The fact that we rejected, a bad performing government, as in President Weah, and we let him serve for one term, in spite of the fact that the president himself personally is very likable. I like him a lot. I like him. He's a good, ambassador for Liberia. He raised our profile on the international scene. He's a good football icon. I like him, but his governance for 6 years, he did not. He did not perform to expectation, and I think the evidence is clear that our people, in spite of their confliction between liking him as a person and liking him as a president, I think they render a judgment on him in October. And so I think our people are getting there. So there's reason for hope, but we need to help them to clearly define the issues so that they understand, who stands on the issues and who is just coming in with the smokescreen.
Thank you. Dr. Pearson, we are looking at the electoral and political system. Is this system able to give us the kind of leaders that we need? And when I say the kind of leaders we need, I mean people who will come and get the job done. People with the track record of accomplishment, visionary leaders, not just any kind of leader because they are popular. Do we have a political system? Do we have an electoral system that can produce any such leaders for us?
Thank you, Mr. CF, for the question. When we talk about whether our political system and our electoral system can produce the desired results that we want to see for our governance in our country, I think it's a cup half full for me. Because when we talk about the electoral system, there are a few things I want us to just take into consideration. We got to look at the laws, Mr. C. We got to look at the laws. And when we mention the laws, we saw some lapses in our electoral laws. Not necessarily only because we didn't have some strong laws, but in addition to not having a very strong electoral laws, so we didn't see some willingness to enforce those laws. We do see that happening at times. I gave you an instance with the voter trucking. You remember during the elections, people were trucking people from across the border from Guinea to Liberia and within Liberia, and our electoral system was not strong enough to enforce the law, or probably we didn't have the law to begin with to affect those areas. And there are other areas that time will not permit me to delve into. Another thing is infrastructure and technology. So for a system to work besides the laws, you have to have proper infrastructure, and you have to have the technology. I think this going election, we're looking to make our entire voting process electronic, if you can recall, and that digital, and that fell along the wayside. We couldn't achieve that for lack of funding or probably lack of time. And Liberia is not the country where you tell yourself that if you want to do something right, then get to do it in time, plan ahead. We'll wait again until 1 month or 2 months to elections or 6 months to elections, and then we start to run to do a quick fix to get system running. And I think we lack the infrastructure, because when you look at where our elections votes are cast, where ballots are placed, where polling stations are placed, sometimes they're vulnerable positions, vulnerable places across the country. So can we strengthen some of our magistrate courts across the country, especially in rural communities where the magistrate court is somebody's living room, and that can be a problem. Okay, so another thing is that the human resource capacity. We've seen a lot of problem with human resource capacity, Mr. CA, when you come to elections officials, right? Those who go to the villages and towns to do our elections can bear the tally properly. You may take that for granted, but little math matters. If you get up it on more numbers than my Bromsky, because you can't identify the name of Bromsky or Alexander Cummings, because you can identify the name strip. I mean, there was going to be a problem. Just making that just a joke in that. But I mean, we do have those problems, right? And then we have the issue of funding. Funding is also part of the system. If we don't have adequate funding, it's going to impact how elections produce results. And then the civic education and how our citizens are impoverished also affect our electoral results. People give them t-shirts and caps, and that is enough. Election is not based on ideology and strong arguments for what a person can do or have done to convince the populace. Just have to give them a couple of dollars and people run to support them. And last but not the least, local political and geopolitical influence is a problem, Mr. C. We just saw President Bouacar flex his muscle by suspending our electoral elections commission chair. I think that's something we should never attempt to do in this country. If the president is found to be inept and violated any electoral laws that have them in office for cause, dismiss the president. But to suspend them and give them the position again is only to tell them that if I'm not certifying you tomorrow, I can find any reason or cause to get rid of you. And in that case, that person will be very skeptical to tally votes against you, even if the vote is not in your favor. And so I think it's a half-full situation. We've come a long way, but there's still much more way to go.
So that's I want you to conclude your argument there. Given all you said, right, voter education, capacity, resources constraint, and so on and so forth, our political and electoral system, can it produce the kind of leaders we have? And I want to add another piece to it: the individuals who are involved in the political process, the candidates, the kind of, dealings they get involved in. You mentioned as an example, they are trucking, right? Looking at all of those things, is our political and electoral system designed to produce the kind of leaders that we need?
Not necessarily to what I would consider an appreciable results, but it is what we have. And let me just be bold to say, just for the sake of the debate, say for instance, we have a situation where we have people got voted in one of my brother's district that they did not vote the person into power because the person had people truck to come and vote for him. So they are not being properly represented in that district. So definitely the results is not what the system is supposed to be producing. So if I were to go with an argument, I would say the system is failing us in that regard. At the same time, I would want to mention that we've made some strides. So I don't want to say everything is an empty cup. For me, like I say, it's a half full cup. There's not much to criticize, but yet there are some gains that we've made.
Mr. Evan Morris, is our system the problem? Is we the people are the problem, the participant the problem, or all of the above? And how is this system we have enough to produce the kind of leaders we need.
All right. Thank you, Mr. C. Sorry for being late again.
Mhm.
Look, I must say it's all of the above. And I think if we just look at the United States, they always say, they have a saying that this democracy is imperfect. So they're working continuously to, to try to make it a more perfect union. In Liberia, I think we don't tweak our democracy enough. We haven't agitated. And this is where the people come into play. You have to agitate and let the people know that certain things in the democracy is not working for you, and because of that, they need to tweak it. That it fits you as a people and it works for you. Democracy is not it's not cookie cutter. You can tweak it and you can adjust it so that it fits your people's needs and it works for them and it's applicable in that environment. And I think I want to give a proposal, right? We can train technocrats, train a lot of them regardless of their ethnic group or their county of origins, and then send them out to these different counties so that they can go and do the technical work. I think we need to develop from outside, towards Monrovia. So we need to, develop from the outskirts of our borders, and then coming inward, because now everything is saturated in Monrovia, and barely any development goes out to those rural counties. So I think we have to take a different perspective. Go out to the rural areas, put technocrats there, let them do real research to know what these people are lacking. I mean, obviously we can tell just by looking at it. They need education and need, infrastructure in terms of roads and water, clean drinking, all those things, we know it. But send people out there, but first you have to train them. You have to educate them in mass, maybe 200 or 300 of them, and then disperse them out into these different counties. Let them do some thorough research, and then let us know what we need to develop these areas, and then we craft our budgets, around these development priorities for these rural counties. You can't keep the same system as it is currently constituted because it's not working for the majority of the people. And the majority of the Liberian people live in rural places, like in the counties, in the hinterlands, as they call it. So we have to craft our democracy now to fit our people who are not being represented in Monrovia. Most of them live in the highlands in Liberia or the lowlands, and they are suffering. They're suffering, and they're almost forgotten in the country. So I think as people who are quote unquote educated, or those of us who are a little more conscientized, we have to agitate for our people who are way back behind God's back and can't speak or don't have the articulation to come to Monrovia and speak to the lawmakers. So I think we have to now in the diaspora in Liberia call for a tweak or adjustment to how we run our democracy in Liberia. And absolutely, without the people making noise, as Ali Dia, what is his name? uh, the guy from Gabon, Ali Bongo, would say we have to make noise. We have to agitate, tell the government it's not working. A lot of people are being left behind, especially those living in rural areas. Tweak this. We don't want a federal system. We're too small of a country to have a federal system, but bring something akin to a federal system where you have administrators in these different counties, not just superintendent, but you have real people doing real work, administrating with health, having like a mini health department, a mini, a transportation department in every county in the country, and making sure that these people's needs are being, at least at a bare minimum, heard. Let them tell you what they're lacking. A lot of them will tell you the basic hospitals, good school, clean drinking water, and those things. And then you allocate money to fix those things. So I mean, why can't we do that? Why haven't we been doing it? Knowing that it's not working for the majority of the 5 million plus people in our country. Why haven't we changed so that it can fit us, and fit our needs better? That's my question. And I think that falls squarely on the shoulders of us. Those of us who are not in government, who are in the political space, who are agitators, but not agitating for the people who don't have the voice. Like Mr. Namwe, he's on a lot of platform. He has a big voice. He should be agitating for these things. The different organization like EULA and other organization and activists like the Costa and other people who have a loud voice. I think this is something that we can all galvanize around and say, you know what? A vast portion of our population is being unheard. Who in your village? When was the last time anybody came from your village who we saw on YouTube speaking in crew, or somebody from Maryland speaking in Gribble, telling the Liberian government that they're not happy, their life is not good, because some people don't even know their condition. They don't even know that they're suffering, and their life could be better if they agitated for more resources from their government officials and their elected officials. So I think we who have the voice and who have the education, we have to agitate for our people who are being left behind in these rural areas. I'll leave it there
Thank,
for
J. Victor Namen. So if you look at our electoral system, the way it's designed, it has produced leaders. We have the likes of Yeke Koluba. He had gotten elected multiple times. You look at Tomlin Fowler, he's gotten elected multiple times. You look at the current vice president, Jeremiah Cown. I know a lot of people call him Kun. He's not Kun, he's Cown. Jeremiah Cown has gotten elected multiple times. Our system elected President Weah. Our system elected Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Our system now elected Joseph Boakai. One might think that the system is working. It has brought to prominence, politically speaking, people from humble beginning, from the slum, from nowhere. All right. That is how a political system should work. J. Victor now will be the first to tell us this is what we advocated for. We want a Yakpa Wudo to be in the House. We want a Yakpa Wudo to be a representative, a senator, and a vice president, president. That's what we have today. The electoral system is working. Now, then you come to the political system. We have the political parties, the deciding who should be a candidate, who should not be a candidate, the maneuvering. So my question to you is simple. Is our political system and the electoral system, which one is our bigger problem here?
I think it is. I think it is the political system.
Okay. Why?
I think the electoral. I think the electoral system is doing what it was designed to do.
Mm-hmm.
It has drawn up qualifications for running for office.
Mm-hmm.
It has managed the process to produce results. Are these smooth sailing, 100% perfection? I don't think we've got to that yet, but they're doing. I think they're doing what they were designed to do.
Mm-hmm.
It is a political system that will look among us and elect the best of us. I cannot say that right now you have the best of us representing us. On the contrary, I think some of the guys who represent or who are representing us through the electoral system are the worst of us. And so the electoral process will accept is like your computer. Whatever you put in, it puts out to you. You have to put in the quality data for it to process that and give it back to you. So we have to design our political system so that it compels us to find the best among us and not just settle for anybody. I mean, look at the current by-election electioneering or campaigning that's going on in Nimba. The front runner, Samuel Koga, he's been in the House for over 13 years. You know, what has he done for the people in Nimba, other than the fact that he's been Prince Johnson's nephew or whatever it is? But he's running all over the place, and he may very well wind up winning this. I don't think this is what the political process is supposed to give to us. It is supposed to eliminate people like Koga, who have had the opportunity to serve their people and have not done well at addressing their needs. I think that is what should be, politics about is local. What have you done for me lately? And so we the politicians in a space, we have to find a way to bring our people to that point where they will reject those who come to them with empty promises and end up riding on those promises for 13 or more years in government. We haven't. I don't think we've developed the system to that level yet. Our people.
Mr. Namwe, let me interject and follow up. I like what you are giving me there. So in short, you are saying, look, it is the political system that feed the electoral system. So if we put garbage in our electoral system, that's what we're gonna get.
Absolutely.
If you put Yeka Koluba on the ballot, don't be surprised you are getting him as your representative. All right. If you put a Prophet Key on the ballot, don't be surprised you are getting him, as your representative. and you use the word, the political process supposed to eliminate, for example, somebody that Koga, or should not put him forth. You understand? Because either he's not our best, or putting him forth will complicate matters for us in terms of leadership and governance. So our political process should be able to do that. And there's the issue of right. It is this citizen's right. How do we walk that fine line? Not disenfranchising an individual, but at the same time, guiding the political process to give us the best that we deserve as a people.
That's right. I think to ask the electoral process to eliminate a prophet key is asking too much of the process, because then you're running the risk of bridging that divide between your right and the responsibility of Elections Commission. But you and I should allow Prophet Key to run all over Nimba and do whatever he wants, and we go in a ballot box and reject him. That we're not at that level. That's where we need to bring our people. And so if Koga is running over the place because he's been a representative for 13 years, that does not give him the pedigree. That does not qualify him right now to be the front runner. He's running on fume. We should look at his track record of service for 13 years. That's what he should be telling us. Why is it that he thinks he's better qualified than Wegonglo, than Yelu, than Glenwan, than Gumpu, than all of these people? What is the record of service? It shouldn't be him dancing up and down and jumping over bodies and doing all this nonsense. That is not what a politician is supposed to use to get into office. But that's what we are still electing our people on. If Yeke comes around and shout all over the place, then he becomes our champion. But Yeke has been in the house forever. What has he put on the floor by way of a legislation? Because that is his responsibility to make laws. To what do we call this, monitoring agencies or whatever it is. That is his responsibility. It's not to come and cause people in the parliament and talk all of this stuff he's talking. Show me what you've done that we are paying you for. If you can't show me that, then I shouldn't be electing you come the next election cycle. We have a responsibility to bring our people to that level so that they understand it. We haven't got there yet. We're getting there, but we haven't arrived yet.
Thank you. I like what you gave me then. You are debating like a veteran. So, Dr. Pearson, this is the other piece. The political process, I can argue that is our worst nightmare, because it's through the political process we feed the electoral process to give us the leaders that we need. Focusing on political parties, for example, let me give credit to your political party. I don't know whether you are a member, but you support the ANC or Mr. Cummings. They endorse Ile Gonglowe. I don't know her in particular, but I think she is a better choice, in my judgment. And they are saying, look, we are part of the political process. We are endorsing a better candidate. Versus CDC that say, well, here are three choices. Choose. And TDC telling say, choose from these three choices. And if CDC divide their votes among the three choices, we may end up with a Koga, for example. So that is the problem with the political process. It's about interest, it's about favoritism, it's about who align with us. And then if you look at the national agenda, then you see that we are drifting away from the national agenda. We are tying ourselves to the political party agenda. So talk to me. Your problem here in the political process is, say, with the people or the political parties who are feeding the candidates?
Thank you, Mr. CA. So let me respectfully disagree that Representative Yeka Koluba is not a good political product in the political spectrum of Liberia. Listen, if you put Yeka Koluba before me to elect to a legislature, you put Yeka Koluba, you put Richard Kuhn, you put Samuel Koga, I will elect Yeka Koluba. So, in as much as I will hate his profane language, the the profanity in his language, I will respect the fact that he stands for the interest of the people. And if you follow his record, you will find that Yeka Koruba profanity does not equate to the detriment of people that who subvert the Constitution to satisfy their personal gain. Individuals who are absconding with millions of dollars by manipulating the budget for the personal pocket. And Yeka will be the one crying out there and trying to put up some resistance and trying to put light on fraud within the Capitol building. So in as much as he may not have the strength to produce laws, he has the strength in advocacy. Why I may not like his form of his approach to advocacy, but I like the fact that he stands for what is detrimental to the well-being of the Liberian people. So let me go to your question. When we are talking about whether the political system is producing candidates that are fit for our governance, I will agree with Mr. Namwe on that one. Yes, there are a lot of people who that by the virtue of the laws, remember I mentioned 6 things that will impact that system: the laws, the infrastructure and technology, human resource capacity, funding, civic education, and geopolitical influence. So the political aspect will play. So anyone can, with the constitutional age and citizen rights, can run for office. But do we have enough civic education and as citizens are strong enough in terms of not being influenced by catch or other inducements? That's a whole different ballgame. But again, I want to say this, Mr. C. For me, in the context of Liberia, I do not see people who are quiet and then silently undermining progress in the country to be good politicians, as compared to someone who is vocal like Yeka Koruba and insulting who is standing for what is right. So, I want to be very careful how I thread our lines, because I would like to see a 50 Yeka Koruba in our House of Representatives compared to 73 lawmakers who are there only to subvert the Constitution and put money in the budget just for them to go to the hotel and divide their money themselves, and go to ministry and agencies to go for monies that they have allocated for education and healthcare and other areas. I want to stop there for now.
Thank you. Let us welcome Mr. Gabriel M. Carter. He is focused on Liberia, host for our Business and Economic Forum, FOL Marketplace. Gabriel is a global banking and finance expert. He sees money in everything. So, but he's in tune to politics, because he understands that politics impacts everything. Even the money he manages in politics can impact it. The man know that one too. So, Gabe, welcome. So we're talking about the political system, where political parties, either support candidate or produce candidate, for election. All right, and those people becoming our leader, either representative, senator, or president and vice president. Then we're also looking at what the electoral system that is used. Is that our problem? Then we're also looking at the people who vote. So where is our bigger problem, and how can we look at these in order to get the kind of leaders we want?
Great question. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Perfect. So I think I want us to look at this thing from a different perspective, right? And first and foremost, I would say that I think we can't blame the electoral college or the electoral system. They are facilitators, right? So you bring forth the candidate, and the electoral college or the electoral system say, this is how you vote. These are the rules that you carry out to vote, right? So we have to look at the other side of that equation, which is the people, right? I think Dr. Pearson stated that. Mr. Nangwe even probably alluded to some of that as well. But what I want us to look at is, for all of those candidates that we see in the race right now, the Koga, Edith, Gompu, and the other guys that are there, right? I said this before when the late Senator Prince Johnson, passed away. NIMBA has the ability to shift its direction, right? Meaning this was somebody who was a godfather over this county. He sat on that in that seat. Whether regardless of where you see NIMBA has gone, you can attribute some of that to him. And you can attribute some of that to maybe the resilience of the NIMBA people. But here we are at a crossroad, right? What I want all of us to do, and those in the social media verse that are listening to us, think about what NIMBA is right now, right? Forget, let's say you, myself, and everybody else was running. Forget all of us, everybody that's in the candidate. Said, this is NIMBA. This is probably the second most powerful county in the country. Commercially, it's becoming commercially important. Where does this county want to go? Where do we want to take this county? Where do we see this county as a people, right? Then you now, once you have figured that out, then you now go to the people that are in the race and say, okay, who in the race fits that criteria of where we want to take NIMBA, right? This is where you can say, this is where Prince Johnson left it. Where do we want to go? Do we want to go as far to become bigger than Monserrato, to be more important than Monserrato? Or do we want to just continue to be the second most powerful county in the country? Once you answer that, then you go to the people in the race, the Gonglo, the Dr. Gompu, the Koga, to find your person. I say this because that leads me to the next step. Have any of you guys read any agenda for these people that are in the race of where they want to take the county, their agenda, what they want to do, from an economic standpoint to the political aspect of it, right? To say, hey, I've followed the politics in NIMBA. I understand the dynamics here of the political side, but most importantly, I think you alluded to that earlier, your economics informs your polity, right? It informs who you marry to. It informs how long you live. It informs everything you do. So picking somebody, you have to understand that aspect of it. Where do we want to go? What kind of life do we want as a citizen in this country? When somebody comes to NIMBA, what kind of county do we want them to see? And how does each of these people in this race play out, fit into that picture? This is what we don't do. Right now, I think we're just excited. We look at Koga here. He's been a representative for a long time. He's like the godfather because he jumped over Prince Johnson's dead body. They see him as the next of kin. You can look at Edith as well. I think Mr. Nangwe pointed this out. Look at their history. Your past performances will determine how your future performances, right? What you've done in the past will tell me how well you will do. Let's look at those people's history. What have they done? Even let's say you were somebody new in a race like Dr. Mr. Gompu. What has they put forward? This is how I've thought about NIMBA. This is where I want to take NIMBA. This is how I'm going to maneuver and get people to really get on board with me in the Senate, in the House of Representatives, including the president, to take this county to where it needs to be. I have not heard anything. I have not seen any. But all we continue to celebrate is this president been here for this long. They've done this, they do this, they did nothing from an economic standpoint. So what that, I will say this quickly and I'll end. What that tells me, we're just going to have somebody, the status quo, elected, and you just become another lame duck and just play politics to stay there. But in terms of uplifting the people of NIMBA and advancing our county, and most important, maybe subsequently become somebody important in the country, I don't see that. And that's my problem with the people. Thank you.
Thank you. Evan Morris, you know this well as a smart, very conscious student of social science, right? Leadership can be an inspirationally powerful instrument for transformation. People should see in the leaders themselves and themselves in the leader. So my question is tied into, who do you want to see as your leader? Is this person a symbol that you can be proud of? Is this person the representation you can be proud of? That yes, that was senator there. Yes, that was president there. All right. Do you think the citizen of Nimba and all other citizens in Liberia look at leadership like that? That we want somebody we can be proud of in terms of their character, in terms of their record, in terms of their understanding of the issue. All right. This person is almost like a motivation for us. Do you see that possibility in Liberia today? Or is it more about, well, this man here, okay, from the down group, or this person is from the, how you think these variables are the problem, and where should the focus be? How should we participate in the political process to give us the kind of results we need?
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. C. Look, I put a lot of blame or a lot of responsibility on the citizens, on the people.
Mhm,
And just like how personal relationships are usually reflective, political relationships are also reflective.
mhm,
And we see this in a form of tribalism in our politics in Liberia, right?
mhm.
Because people want people who are similar to them from the same ethnicity to be, to represent them because they see themselves or they see their group in that person. So even here in the United States, I'll take the United States for example. Women, they voted heavily for both women presidential candidates that we've had, Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris, because they see themselves in that woman, that a woman is capable of doing certain, becoming president of the United States. Same in Liberia, where we use our tribal or our ethnicity to vote for people because we see ourselves in them, and that's one part of it. But one of the things that is one thing that is a liability is low information voters. They always talk about it here in the United States. These people tend to sway election almost inadvertently. They don't know how to vote. They just kind of almost do tic tac toe and they pick one person, and they don't care who they pick. They just go in there to vote. In Liberia, we have a lot of low information voters. And what does that mean? That means that they're not tuned in to what's really going on in the country. They're not tuned in to the candidate's agenda, like you said, whatever they put forth or what they're going to do. But most importantly, what are their needs, and if this person can fulfill that need to help them, live a better life. And I think one of the things that we miss is that we're a poor country. Even if you have a superb legislature or legislator, it's very difficult for him to allocate sufficient amount of resources to really take care of the needs of the people. Some of these counties have needs that in excess of $1 billion to really fully and adequately meet these needs. We don't have even $5 or $10 million that we can take out of our budget and send to one of these counties to address any of these needs. So it's like you can go on there, talk good, write good legislature or legislation, but then if it's passed into law, do you have the resources to fund it and to implement it to change the lives of the people? So that's one of the things that's stifling us politically. It's the lack of resources. In America, most of these politicians, they go into these, what they call pork barrel, bills, where they add little things here for their constituencies. Sometimes it's in the tens of millions, if not the hundreds or billions of dollars. Can a person from Nimba go in there and co-write a bill with somebody from Grand Bassa, and maybe the Grand Bassa bill is the mean bill, but they say, you know what, in order for me to support you, I need $20 million for a so and so project in B and Dora. We need a road from Capital all the way to B and Dora. Can you do that? Of course not. The resource just won't be available. So I'll take somebody like Samuel Brown, for example, who I knew. His wife is friends with my father. He was somebody who was fixing the road in Ganta. He had a little yellow machine, he used to fix the roads, and he ingratiated himself with the people. A personal relationship that he made by doing road construction for his people, and they elected him to that position. Even Jeremiah Town, before he became representative, he used to do loan. He used to give small business loans to the people around Ganta, and that's how he ingratiated himself with the people. That brought him to prominence. So the thing here is, people have to understand what politics is and how you pick the best political leaders. And you have to have information. You can't be a fool, like Plato said. If wise men don't want to lead, they'll be led by the fools, right? So if people who are smart enough don't put their hats in the ring, and they sit back and let people who are quote unquote less qualified run for political offices, the people who see themselves in those people, because most people in Liberia, I hate to say, are not educated. The majority of the people are not college or even high school graduate. So they might put somebody there who themselves is not a college or a high school graduate because it's a reflection of who they are. A person like Yeka Koloba, with all of his, like Dr. Pearson was saying, with all of his, shortcomings, he's somebody who speaks strongly and powerfully, and people, tend to think he have a sense of honesty when he says some of these things because he criticizes his own self that they're corrupt, they steal from the legislature, but at the same time he criticizes other people that most people want to criticize, and in such harsh language. So these people are a reflection of the Liberian people. Who tell you say Liberian people are not rude like Yeka Koloba? A lot of people are very rude and abusive like Yeka Koloba. So if they see Yeka Koloba being rude, they will vote for him because they think he's a reflection of them. So my point here is that we need to educate our voters. As a child in this country, as a kid in this country, I took civics from my middle school days all the way to high school to college. You learn about how government works. You understand the structure of government. You understand the functionality of the different branches of government. Those things are to prepare you so that you become a high information voter. So that when you are voting, you know exactly what you're voting for, what the responsibility of the person that you're voting for, and then you look at their platforms and you know that they have a track record or they have a history of performing and doing what they say they're going to do. So all of these things is down to the information that the voters have because information is power. If you have more information, you make a more informed decision. And usually, more informed decisions are better decisions than people who have no information or low information. So it's the people. People make their leaders.
Thank you. You couldn't have said it better, gentlemen. I think.
Can I get 30 seconds? Can I get 30 seconds if you may?
Okay, go ahead.
Elvis, I think I agree with a lot of what you said, but to blame the citizens for the leaders that we have today, I will beg to disagree for this reason, right? You cannot blame the hen for laying bad eggs, right? You cannot blame the hen for laying bad eggs because first of all, the hen played its role by carrying the egg, by going through the process and producing the egg. The probability that the egg will turn up good or bad is out of the hand of the hands of the hen. So I think what we have, I would say for a fact, is that when people put their heart in the race that they want to go for elected office, they go on certain pedigree, they go on certain commitment, they go on certain promises, they do that on certain credentials. And I think we should hold them responsible for that credential. What I will agree with you on is that the citizens should be able to bring these leaders to sign some social contracts with them. Like, listen, if you give me a laundry list of things that you say you're going to do differently, and I'm going to hold you up onto your laundry list and hold you onto your credential, and out of that, and you come and you don't meet that social contract, there should be a provision in the laws that we can get rid of you instead of waiting for 9 years or 6 years or I don't know how many years to get rid of you. We should be able to get rid of you, and the provision should be there for us to do that. I think the laws should get the ability to do that.
It's only fair for 10 seconds, Mr. Sear, quickly. Dr. Pearson, there is a provision. You can recall your representative is written in the Constitution. You have to meet a certain threshold. But let me say this also, right? Like what you're saying. Um, I lost my train of thought. I'll just pass it out. I wanted to say something.
All right. Thank you.
So
Then let you use this time to welcome Glendy. Glendy, welcome to Friday Night Debate. We understand you are late. Welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here. Hello to everyone.
All right.
Hello, Omar. Good to see you.
You too, my brother.
Glendy, currently we are on whether or not our current electoral and political system can produce the kind of leaders that we want. The main ingredients here, the political system, meaning the political actor, the political party putting forth candidates, even political actors like the independent candidate themselves, knowing who they are getting the race, the kind of platform they pull forth, that's another thing there. And then we also looking at the citizens, all right, who are deciding. The citizens decide. Are these citizens making the right decision. If they're not making the right decision, why I say that they're not making the right decision? Why they say that they don't have? That when they have, they will make the best choices for us. Can we hold them responsible in any way? Or can we just hold the political system responsible? Many of them, the debaters are saying, look, the electoral process is just a process through we bring out the results. So garbage in, garbage out. So it's like we've been putting a lot of garbage in that, for lack of a better way to put it. And that's why we're getting the garbage out. So how do we avoid putting garbage in the system, all right, to get the right product that we need? That is the debate. And welcome. We want to hear from you.
So I think it's twofold for me. I think it is the political climate that we have, and then I think also it is with the citizenry. But also, if the citizens don't have their bread and butter issues being met, it makes it difficult. Then they're now not looking at getting people to help the society or get better candidates. They're looking at whoever can give them what they want. They're promising their votes. And that's the dilemma we're in Liberia, with the fact that clearly there's some people that should not even be there, should not be running. Some people, they've won elections 2-3 terms. They're still there. No one else can come. It's because of what our society has now become. There is no check and balances. People are not looking for a better Liberia. They say they want that, but yet the citizens keep electing the same people over and over. So it's twofold. It's not one clear-cut thing that's the problem. I think the citizens play a bigger part on who they elect for a better Liberia that they can hold. And then even after they're elected, who's holding them responsible? You hear some of the things that they're involved in, the same citizens will come back and re-elect them. So that is the issue. But on the overall, if our government was at the place where citizens or their constituents were able to get what they need, and the basic supply of life goods, I think it will be better. But if they don't have it, then they're fending for themselves. Their country wanting a better Liberia would not be the first thing that will come to your mind. It's your survival. That's what's important.
So thank you. Let's conclude
Mr.
this.
Sear, I recollected my thought. Just give me that 10 seconds, please. I recollected quickly.
Okay, go ahead.
Like what Dr. Pearson was saying, right? About people portraying themselves to be one way and then fooling the people. And I was going to say this, being gullible is not an excuse. That's why I was talking about, high information voters. Like that song say, it's so poignant by Takunje. The people fool us. That song that is saying is actually a tragedy of a song. So be fooled is a terrible thing. The wise are not easily fooled. So if you have high information and you're a voter, you're not going to be easily fooled. The people are not going to fool you. The people are not going to lie to you because you know them. Like Maya Angelou said, when a person show you who they are, believe them. So if you're a high information voter, you're going to do your proper research. You're going to look at this person's history. You're going to look at their decision making and how they perform in other capacities of their life. Like what Joseph Boyka told us, that he lived on loan and he's been borrowing money, and you put this kind of person there and you expect them to transform you economically when they couldn't sustain themselves, economically, that's you being gullible and you're not doing your research. So I blame the people, because if they're not smart enough to realize that these people are not going to do anything different, what they did in the past is probably an indicator of what they're going to do in the future. That's on you, like we say in America. That's on you. That's my point.
So if your argument that is right, no one should be thinking about voting for CDC and United Party.
Rightfully so. If people think that CDC failed them and they look at their track record, don't vote for them, because of course what they did before is most likely what they're going to bring back again. So it's simple. It's simple math. Like the same people that voted for Trump now and they're regretting it after he said all the things he was going to do. They thought he was going to be different, and now he's doing even worse than he did before. And now the people are making videos on social media. They regret ever voting for him. He lied to them. He's not doing the things he said he was supposed to do. That's on you as a voter. You got to be smarter than that.
Thank you. So let's conclude this segment of the debate with solution. The agreement I see here is that, well, the political system, all right, the kind of candidate we're putting forth through the political parties, all right, and the kind of candidates we are supporting as citizens, that's a bigger problem. And then the citizen too, the citizen don't have, good information and maybe civic education is a problem. The citizens are not voting on the basis of what the person is able to do. They are just voting because, well, the person is close to me, this person is from a county, this person is my tribe, this person is from a political party. So on that basis, I will vote, or this person give me back a raise, or this person was able to show a few dollars, and so on and so forth. So those are our major problems. What is the solution? And I'll let each of you go on that as your closing or argument. And let's start with you, Gabriel. How do we solve that?
So I think I probably alluded to some of the solution I want to give here. Again, I think Morris says something similar as well. Education, meaning we educate the voters. Again, this is because of the way we run campaign in.
And what kind of education you giving the voters here?
Civic education, and when you see a candidate on the trail campaigning, to really, and then again, is a double-edged sword here, because we have I don't want to say illiterate population, or mostly illiterate population, so they don't pay attention to this thing. But however, that's something we have to do, whether they understand it or not. If we can break it down to their level, I think they will, eventually catch on to that. So education, but civic education first in the evening.
And who are we relying on to do the education? The very political class?
Not the we start in the classrooms, right? We start in the classroom, and again, the level of campaign you see here in the United States, you don't see that in Liberia or most African country. So if we can do things like that, like you see all these candidates that you're hearing, all you hear is radio ads. You don't see them in this community talking to these people and really pitching themselves in terms of what they can do. We need stuff. We need, grassroots campaign like that. That's one. Two, it goes back to what I said before. The citizen understanding what they need for themselves, right? It's one thing to think about yourself in silo, right? But it's another thing to come together as a community. You see them coming together. It's not that they don't come together, but for them to come together collectively to say, this is what we want for us as a county, this is where we want to go, that needs to happen. And somebody has to invoke that in there. Somebody has to inspire that in there.
I know you're trying to close here. I'm signing 1 minute for the closing argument.
Right.
According to our constitution, I'm coming. It is the responsibility of the government to teach the citizens the very constitution, and the very constitution we're talking about is a civic document. The constitution is basically civic education. The state has failed to do so. And you are saying the problem is they don't have the civic education you understand, to be able to think critically and make these kind of critical decisions. So is the citizen responsible, or is the state that failed to do the education?
If the state fails, are we going to continue to blame the state? No. I mean, you as a candidate, you take on that responsibility. Where the state slacking off, you pick up that responsibility and take it from. This is why I said I was.
Why, if that candidate knows that they're not good enough and they want to prey on what is a corrupt system? Well, if these people are educated, knowing the kind of person I am, they're not going to vote for me. So I'm not going to teach them their rights and their roles and responsibility.
It's like a clockwork. That goes back to the very beginning where we started from, meaning we have to know who the candidates, the type of candidate that we're putting forward, right? If you know that you're going to prey on the people because they're ignorant, you are not qualified to be a leader at all. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Dr. Pearson, now we're talking solution. Where's the solution? Is it civic education? And we should provide our civic education. You are muted, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Anthony. Again, you are right when you say it falls on the government to educate its people. But I just want to go back to one of the things I said earlier. I mentioned 6 things: the laws, infrastructure, technology, human resource capacity, funding, civic education, and political or geopolitical influence. Now, in as much as all of those things are important, I would like to emphasize more precisely on the laws. I think we need a clear path where when people are elected to office, the citizens are able to recall them even before the tenure ends. We need a clear law that says that. If it says the Constitution provides that, no. The Constitution does say in Article 1 that power is inherent in the people, and the people, they are there for our will and pleasure, right? But at the same time, it does not say precisely that we can recall them. And what does it take to recall them? It does not say that. Article 37 does say how the House of Representatives Senate has 30 days, and or 90 days to refer to the or 30 days to refer to the Elections Commission to have a replacee within in the legislature, and replace, maybe because of death or some other reason that they cannot continue their function. So they can replace them in 90 days. I think it's Article 38 that mentioned that the House of Representatives and legislature, they can be removed by cause. But that left with the PS to determine. But it is more than, it is not even likely that it will remove themselves, to be very frank with you. So what is it that we can do that will put pressure on these hypocritical leaders who make false promises, who gave false impressions to voters, that when you put us there, we're going to do something different, and they renege on those promises? What can we legislate in law to say that the people can do this precisely, and they can get that lawmaker who breached that social contract out of that position? I think we need that. And I think that for me, that is the most important thing right now, because our issue is with trust and integrity of our leaders to meet the promises that they make to their people. And if we do have that law, please show it to me. I don't think we have it. I have looked for that myself. I know I've heard it say you can get under 1,000 signature or 100,000 signature, but it is not there.
Thank you.
We don't have that in the Constitution.
Thank you. This is why Article 1 says that you think all power is inherent in the people. All free governments are instituted by their authority and for their benefit, and they have the right to alter and reform the same when their safety and happiness so require. In order to ensure democratic government which responds to the wishes of the governed, the people shall have the right at such period and in such manner as provided for under this Constitution to cause their public servants to leave office and to fill vacancies by regular elections and appointments. Well, we're still talking solutions. I just thought to read that there. Maybe someone
let me just make a quick note on that. You remember when the guys went to the Supreme Court for the issue of the speakership?
Mm-hmm.
So even though there's a law that says you can compel your colleagues to come to section, mm-hmm. but then the Supreme Court said there's no law to tell me how to compel them. So we do have Article 1 that says we can remove them, but there's no law to tell us how we can remove them. That's what we're saying. We need a law that tells us how we can remove these guys.
Article 1 makes specific reference to regular election.
Yeah, it's too long. 9 years, 6 years, too long. Way too long.
So you want young jobs 9 years too long, eh? Okay.
No. I'm just saying we should have a way to say that, listen, instead of going demonstrate and put hot water on us, we should have a way in our constituency to say maybe 1,000 of us or 100 of us or 200 of us can go and petition that these guys be removed and their colleagues cannot defend them, cannot protect them.
And I hold that petition should not go to that very first branch of government. Maybe it should go to the court, and the court should summon that exercise. I think that's a kind of reform, because if those people welcome any such petition and probably endorse it for the citizens to add on it, it will be difficult because they fear that, well, if we give blessing to this thing, we may be next. And so maybe we should go to the other branch of government. We still talking solution here and closing argument. The chief political analyst of Focus on Liberia.
Hey, you want me to come in now? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. It's your time.
I hope you're not watching the different show behind it.
Oh my goodness, Elvis. I think Anson is frozen, so I was waiting for him to give me the cue. But listen, I know we're talking solutions. Let me just say a few things. And I've been waiting here when Dr. Pearson made his first intervention. He said he referred the hundreds or maybe tens of Yeka Koluba. Yaka Koluba is not the ideal honorable representative that you want in your national legislature. He may be an Asian provocateur. Is he really a role model for your son tomorrow? He stands out and causes everybody out. Is that the kind of representative you want? That's what you're paying him for? No. You're paying him to make laws. You're paying him to represent you and to provide oversight. Is he doing any of those? I don't think so. If you want someone to be an agitator, then find somebody else. You don't pay him to be a lawmaker and then he stands in the middle of the town and curses out the president, man. He is not an ideal lawmaker. He is not. Yeka is getting paid for nothing. It is unfortunate that people like him are attracting people like you because nobody is doing what it needs to be done. And that is the feeling on you and I part. You supported the ENC, I supported the CPP. Where is Ellis Cummings? He needs to challenge these people. Where is he? Where is he? So, I really disagree with you on Yeke. I think Yeke is not your ideal lawmaker. I wouldn't take Yeke for a negative representation. He is not. He's a bad example of what a lawmaker. He's an example of what is wrong with the system. How can the system allow people like Yeke to be in the House and be re-elected for doing what? For doing what? He wasn't elected to do what he's doing. He's getting money all over the place, constituent visit, whatever. No, I disagree. Dr. Gibbs said something about the candidates. I agree with him. We need to dig deeper and see which of the candidates in the by-election for Nimba has promise for the county. And I agree with him. Well, Koga has been there 13 years. What has he done? I don't know. I can't find it. Ida was there. She was superintendent. I think she did some work. Many people have said that. Look to her record. I think blame comes from a Musa ability. Look at Musa's record. That should indicate to you what Glenway is going to do. The little short period of time Musa has been there, we all seen what he's done for the county. To me, that's the kind of thing I want you to do as a lawmaker. What are you doing for your people? Musa is connecting all over the place in Nimba. And for that, I think, Glenway might have promise for if he's elected. Our people need, these are the things I think our people need to look to. Not somebody who's jumping over people. Elvis talked about resources. He said we don't have resources. I differ. I think what we're suffering from is we're not using the resources judiciously. Ever since you were a baby, they've always told you Liberia is rich in resources, and that is true. It's not a lie. The problem we have is a mismanagement of the resources that we have. That is why we are the 8th poorest country in the world. Right now, we're talking about $1.2 million on a vehicle. Is it a vehicle going to space? So I think that is our problem. Now, I'm talking about solutions. We have a responsibility to educate our people. You and I here, for instance, we understand when you say your past performance is your predictor. It's a predictor of your future performance. You and I know that because we understand that. Many of our people don't know that. They don't know how to analyze the candidate's promise. What is this person promising us? Does he have the capacity to deliver on what he's promising us? What has he done in his lifetime that will indicate to us that he has the capacity, even if he doesn't have the capacity as an individual, where he can go out there and get it for us and get it done? That's how we should analyze our candidates. But, our people, we're getting there, but we're not there yet. We need to help them. I agree with Anthony. The government has a responsibility to do that. But obviously, they're not. For obvious reasons, you don't want an enlightened electorate who will kick you out because you're not performing. So you want to keep the electorate in the dark. So they will keep electing you for the beggar rights that you're giving them. This is why we're perpetuating the system as it is. So we need to tell our people, we need to help them to discern the issues and pick out the good candidates and toss out the bad ones and start re-electing the bad ones because they make so much noise. That is not what they're supposed to be doing.
Mr. Namwe, thank you. You gave a very good and strong closing argument here. I know I'm moderating, but I'm the kind of moderator who gets tempted to jump in the debate. Dr. Pearson, the question I ask is, really? I'm getting to know you. You don't behave like Yeke Koloba. Why will you justify for Yeke Koloba in any shape and form? Why? I mean, are we just powerless? Do we not have people? What does Yeke bring to the table? It's just a fact. It's not putting the man down. Yeke is smart enough to know that this behavior is repugnant and he should stop. They may understand profoundly the role he plays, the job he occupies. He's a role model. And he chose to be a bad role model consistently, selfishly because it benefits him politically. He, at one point, joined the political party ANC. Cummings became a political leader. Does he see that behavior in Cummings? But that's the behavior he engages in. Even when Cummings had the opportunity to disagree with Yeke, he justified for him. This is my disappointment with these people, specifically when we went to Grand Leader. When they had that also, they came to him. He said, well, Yeke has a star. What star? A terrible star? A bad example in our country? If we continue to make the excuses for bad behavior, I'm sorry, my brother, we will miss it. Because just as you are justifying for Yeke, somebody will justify for Prophet Key. Others are justifying for Prince Johnson's past behavior. Others are justifying for Edwin Snow. And it will become a vicious cycle. You and me need to stand and say, this is bad, it's bad. This is right. Let's say what it is. And I think I disagree with you. And Namwe, my man, you were strong.
I think give me 10 seconds because two of you beat on me already. It's a debate.
Because you invited the beating. Go ahead, defend yourself.
Listen, the smell of the moment does not negate the fact that it's best for dry rest. The smell of the moment. Any Liberian man saying that near me in Liberia, Moreover, the smell of moment does not justify the taste it gives to the dry rest. Right now, Yeke Koloba is one of the best lawmakers that we have in Liberia compared to those who are squandering the resources of Liberian people and who are causing people to live in poverty. When Yeke Koloba was exposing bribes that were coming up in the legislature that people overlook and LSCC did not follow through on, our capital building got burned. Our capital building got burned. So I would have loved to cost. I would have loved Yeke Koloba to cost President Boka to his senses and prevent the building from getting burned, as compared to not being an abusive individual and sit down there as a lawmaker and see the constitution get subverted and the Capitol building gets burned as a result. What am I saying here? Am I supporting his bad behavior? No. But what I'm saying here, is that you are looking at the fact that he's insulting, but you're not looking at the fact that there are others who are not insulting, but they are the worst product of our political system. And I look into in the United States. I look in the United States Congress. I see individuals in the United States Congress who are even insulting to very President Joe Biden and call him names. I've seen those. I've seen the Ghanaian parliament. I see what happened. I've seen the Kenyan parliament. I see what happened there. Politics. These guys say they are doing politics and they're doing the worst to Liberia in Liberia. I would want to see 50 Yeke Koloba in the national legislature to put a halt to all the dubious activities that are happening there. Not because I support his approach, but I stand with his stance against the activities that are hurting our country. That's what I'm saying.
I think you make your point there. Evan Morris. I wanted to go
All right. Mr. CA, let me say this. We all on this platform, we know this, but I'm going to reiterate it. A politically feeble mind is ripe for the picking for political manipulation by political actors. So when your mind, the thing that will fortify your mind is education. When your mind is fortified with education, you become more formidable and you're not easily manipulated by political tricksters. But in politics, like in science, like Mr. Namwe would know, there are constants and then there are variables. But politics, there's a lot more variables in politics. I'll give you an example, right? Take Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton in 2008. These two people have a similar education. She went to Yale, he went to Harvard, Columbia, both constitutional lawyers. But one variable that Barack Obama had that she didn't have, he was a great orator. He had better charisma. Little things like that can decide who becomes a political, leader and who falls by the wayside. Yeke, in his case, has a variable that goes for him, that's going for him, and that is he has more charisma. And one of that is that bravado that he brings by talking, brashly and saying things that most people think, but maybe they don't have the gumption to go on platforms and say. So that variable separates him from other politicians. And that's the thing with politics. It's not a game about merits. Politics is not a merit, a meritorious a thing. It's about different variables that plays into your favor that will catapult you into political office. And that's why politics is so tricky. So my point here is that the solution is the system. Forget the individuals. Systems are greater than individuals in terms of the political actors. If you have a system that is consistently contributing money and resources to these counties to help them develop through education, through the health system, through roads and other things like that, the people will be better off. And eventually they'll make more and more informed decisions. And these guys who are the staff, they will be taken away from the weak. Then the weak will stand still because the people who are making the decisions are well informed. They're going to separate the floozies from the bona fide politicians. So I think that's one of the things that we have to understand. When the system is strong and the system is working consistently over time, these people like Yeke and other people who are more crass and unrefined, they become sifter out of the political picture. And that's because the people who are picking them are more refined and they make better decisions through the refinement of education. And I think if we do that by educating our people, it's not going to pay off right now, but in 20 years, you will see people making better political decisions. So that's the simple answer. Education. That's the simple answer.
Thank you. I think everybody gave their closing argument here on this
I
first
don't think
topic.
Miss Glendy did. Maybe she did. I didn't hear.
I think she was the first. Lenny, did I miss that?
I think you skip
Um,
us.
I think I spoke first. Yes.
Yeah, I think she spoke first. I'm trying to pay a little attention here. All right. That said, great debate by all the debaters and very strong on this issue. I like the way we ended with the Yeke Koluba example there. Let go into the second segment here. This segment is about a paradigm shift when it comes to reform and development. Reforms and development that will bring about delivering the goods, making human conditions better and comfortable for our people. We hear from people all the time. Ghana is making progress. You go in Ghana, they have stable electricity. They are building roads. Their airports are getting bigger and better. We're hearing about Burkina Faso. People are even concerned, where is this guy getting all this money from? Anytime you go on the internet, there's something massive he's up to. How are these people doing it? All right, we hear about Rwanda. They had their own terrible war like us, and after the war, Rwanda transformed into a middle-income country. Infrastructure development. We are aware that even Volkswagen has a plant in Rwanda where they are
Yep.
assembling cars. I mean, you come to Liberia, Mr. Namwe will tell us we have Chikisu factory, we have iron factory, we have battery factory. I know that we were producing sugar, we were producing salt in Liberia. I saw a little bit of it, even though I'm not too old and a little too young. We saw these things. Liberia were exporting some of these things to places like Guinea and Ivory Coast and Sierra Leone, and we lost that. And here we are. It's like we are moving backward while our friends are taking few steps forward. How are our friends doing it? Why are we not getting it right? So how do we do it? That is the last segment of the debate. So having laid it out, let the only lily in the room get us started. And my question is, what investment will give us economic independence? Simple question.
So when we look at a lot of people, including myself, have started admiring Burkina Faso. I understand the leader is from a military side, but he's done a lot in a short time to become to gain some independence in his country. So we have agriculture in Liberia. Can we look into the agricultural sector? Can we have farms? You have minerals in Liberia. Can we look there? Can we make better deals with Meta Steel and all those other people? I think I don't know if it's possible for us to become independent all at once, but I think we can start. I think we can start from there. Make your own food. Start making your own food. Invest in agriculture. You got minerals, you got so many. Start looking at the gold and diamond that we have and let Liberia be in charge. Instead of having foreign people coming to have more rights to your minerals in your country than yourself. There are opportunities there. Send people to school. Invest in the children. Invest in the educational system. Listen, I've joined Brenda from Keep, she's been building libraries, mini libraries in different counties, and now 10 years, 11 years now, she's been able to build 40 library rooms, different schools. The last 3 weeks, she went to River G and Grand Creek County. The schools she visited, 2 of those schools that she's working now on building reading rooms, the children were sitting on the floor. We have public schools where children don't have chairs, not only in Monrovia, but outside of Monrovia. How are we investing in the future of our children? How are we helping our economy? What are some of the things we're doing? Liberia is a rich country. If our leaders will look at the little that we have and start doing better, managing them so that we can be able to be self-sufficient. But it's a long way coming when the first thing I want to get in a job and do is probably get a 50 caliber Jeep. Who knows? And so what am I using the money for? It's difficult. Can it be done in Liberia? It can be done. But we are a long way from doing that.
Thank you, Glendy. And Elvis, so our friends are making stride in these kind of development we're talking about that we need. What is holding us back? Why are we now not able to really have some, massive infrastructure development projects ongoing? And why are we struggling to even provide stable electricity?
All right. Thank you, Mr. C. Let me first give a shout out to somebody in the comment, Great African. He's the brother of our very own Call Family. So hello to Great African. Look, I will say this. I think my solution comes twofold, and it's about recruitment domestically and recruitment for the diaspora. Now, the key here is education, but first we have to do the recruitment. The recruitment in the diaspora has to be worth it for many people who live in this country. You do that cost analysis. Is it worth it for me to leave the comfort of the United States, a job that is guaranteed, a health system that is bona fide, and go to Liberia and serve my country? Most people realize that it's just not a trade that's worth it for them to make. So I think the Liberian government have to formulate a plan. So recruit qualified Liberian diasporans who may not even need to work in government per se, but can come and work in private or semi-private, institutions that will bring certain services to our country that we lack. So you come here, you get doctors, you get lawyers, not just a broad group of people, but people who will actually bring the skills and the technicality, the technical skills to what we really need to develop as a nation. Come and look for the financiers or the economists. We need those people. Really, we need them desperately. Come and look for doctors and hospital managers. We need people in healthcare who can constitute our healthcare system with healthcare managers who can facilitate and distribute, healthcare workers to the different county and manage them so that they can provide adequate healthcare for our people. But then domestically, when you're recruiting people, look for the best and brightest. Young people in high school who are really brilliant, you can recruit them and ask them to become a civil engineer. Say, look, young man, we see your potential, or young lady, we see your potential. We think you're really great with mathematics. You're good with math. We think we can sponsor you throughout to college. In the next 10 years, we can get you to a college degree and become a civil engineer. We want 10 years of service from you after college to work to make our country better. You have to have programs like that. When I was in high school, trust me, people came to me from different colleges, from different places. They try to recruit me. I don't want to toot my own horn, but I was a bit of a prodigy in high school. So I got people coming to me, talking to me. I got interviewed for different, the whole thing. So the point here is you have to see talent early and approach them as a government and say, you are our future. We want to invest in you. And in return, we want 10 years of service from you. So you do that on a domestic level, which is a long-term base, but in the immediate, right now, you try to get people from the diaspora and you give them incentive, not necessarily money, but protection for certain things, certain guarantees from the government that will make them comfortable, and try to get our best minds back into the country. If not, we're going to be far behind, and we're going to have to use 20 or 30 years of educating our young people before we can get to a level where they're educated enough, sufficiently enough, and have enough of them that they can start to transform our country. So I think that's what it is. We can't be too cynical, but the reality is education. Education, as we know, it takes time. It's not immediate. But in the short term, bring people back from the diaspora. The Ms. Glendy who work in healthcare, Mr. Nambo who is who is a chemistry teacher, you, Mr. Sia, whatever skills you have, and Dr. Pearson. Most of you, if they tell you go back to Liberia right now, you probably will look at it and say, it's not worth it. I got my family here. I got my good job. I got my healthcare. It's not worth it. What am I going to go do back there? So let the government come up with a plan. Give us incentives to want to go back home and transfer our skill. Skill transfer, that's the big thing. Transfer skills from people in the United States, bring them back home and make it a nationwide push and make it a concerted effort from the government and reaching out to the diaspora to really bring their brains back into the country, give us a rejuvenation of our brain power. And then at the same time, simultaneously, you're recruiting young brilliant Liberians to become the future, engineers and doctors and managers of our country's future. I think that's the solution.
Thank you. And gentlemen, we all desire the massive investment. Reforms are needed. My reading is that Burkina Faso, people are curious, where is the guy getting the money from? Sam Waddle is writing here, and that's something I read too. He was able to nationalize their mines. In other words, all their mines, they make it to be property of the government. So every penny coming from there is for the government. Whoever is involved, they are paying them as contractors, and then they get probably, if not 80% of the proceeds. All right. So that is how they are generating significant amount. Is that a big idea? Is that a difficult thing? Can we not do it? And, and then one of the things I read, they renegotiated some of the concessions they have there in the first place.
Yep.
All right. These things can be done, right? So we can all look at those other big ideas to how do we raise money? The money in the country. If what we're reading is true, this man is generating all the money from the country. He increased their GDP from 18 billion to 22 billion in less than 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That is a significant number he moved right there. I want us to look at the conversation this way. What are the little things that we can begin with? Because it's about starting to look into ourselves, starting to believe in ourselves, starting to rely on ourselves, self-reliance. We can do this. We can take pride in what is ours, and then we can start taking the giant steps. And, to start the debate, let's look at, Dennis shared the example with me. Let's look at uniform in Liberia. We have our African fabric. What kind of cloths the people using in Liberia for uniform? Are those locally produced material that we're using? If we're having, for example, executive mansion corresponding dinner, what kind of food they cooking there? That's also tomato ketchup that being imported, or are they using palm butter from Grand Cru? Hello. So how would the guy who is tapping that palm wine make money? When we are having a dinner and we say we are drinking palm wine or we're drinking kenju, but you talk about kenju, That agreeable people from Maryland, I can't do, you can't bring you. How will they? This is taking ownership of your own economy. So let me bring it to you. Where do we start from? What are the little things we can start with? Dr. Pearson, you go. You are neo-progressive commentators. Don't give me Western ideas. Give me something that is pan-African. Let's go. Give it to me.
The neo-progressive.
Yeah, I have said this over and over. It's just that our people in Liberia, they have this mindset that if you are not on the bandwagon of the political system that is in power, then whatever you say, they consider to be negative criticism. But we've said this, and I will repeat myself for the purpose of our listeners. When we came out of the civil crisis and people thought to send money to this country, they made something very clear to us who were on the ground here. They told us, if we bring our money to invest it in your country as a post-war economy, we have to distinguish between what they call direct investment, or what they call direct cost, and indirect investment or indirect cost. Meaning, we're not taking majority of the money to pay people salary, but instead we'll put the money directly into the need that is being addressed. And since it is your country, we expect you to sacrifice and support your country and show some nationalism and some patriotism in the process. So what I mean by that is this, and you say I shouldn't be Western idea. Let me put it in our local stuff. Way back when coming up in Liberia, Mr. Carter, when you had toothache and you went for them to apply the chalk, instead of applying the chalk on the tooth, they apply it on your angle opposite to the tooth. And the imagination was that where they apply the chalk on your angle, it will cue the tooth way up here. And that's what we're doing in Liberia with our limited resources. So we take the bulk of our money. If we say we want to do agriculture, instead of us directing a sizable, impactful amount into structuring our agricultural system and structure and get it and do a big investment in agriculture. No, we want to indirectly send it to individuals and expect that individuals will, in a way, make an impact on agriculture. It doesn't work that way. What am I saying? In our national budget, we have 15 million the last time for agriculture. When you go check it, it's for stationery, it's for printer, it's for salaries, and it's for gasoline and other stuff. How much money are we putting directly as our own initiative into agriculture, like Glennie was saying? We look at road infrastructure. Until somebody come from outside and give us donation for road, we can't invest in our own roads. But yet still, between the president to the vice president, the pro tem, the speaker, and the deputy speaker, we spend more than 8+ million, up to 10 million on their welfare and the operation of the office annually. What we put on roads, we can better see. And let's look at even electricity. What major investment have we made on electricity, the driver of the economy as a country? No. But instead we pay the salaries. When we heard the salaries from Monica Tan, we're yelling. But we didn't get any investment directed into electricity as a direct investment for electricity. But we're giving it indirectly to people. So I think we need to go back to the drawing board, Mr. CA, and do more direct investment. And when I mean direct investment, put the money on the problem. And don't put the money in people and expect the people to go solve the problem. Put the money on the problem. Put the big money on the big problem itself. And how we do that is a whole ball game that the show don't have time enough to see.
Perfect.
Thank you. Gabriel, your strength, your expertise is about money.
Yeah.
Money is everything in this world today. Mm-hmm. We agree that a bigger part of our problem is the leadership, how to generate the money in the country. How do we cultivate our natural resources to transform it into liquid cash to invest in the things that we need? So give it to us. How can we do it?
Perfect. I'm glad you asked. And I think some of the things I'm about to talk about, you alluded to some of them. So I will just breeze over them, right? Burkina Faso, like you said, they nationalized their resources, right? Two mines, meaning I think they even sued one of the companies for 300 million, right? But the point here is that they nationalize it. I've said this and I'll continue to say it until Judgment Day. We do not have leadership in Liberia. We do not have bold leaders. We've never had bold leadership in Liberia. I think the closest we came to that was maybe Tolbert, who wanted to industrialize the country. The question I want to pose to you guys is, do we have anyone, whether in the past or currently president, that have the gall, the audacity to do that, to come in and say every concession, B Mountain, what they call it, Putu Mountain, and all of those concessions, I'm going to nationalize them. We don't have that. We don't have any leader that can do that. That's one. The second thing Traore did was that he got rid of the country's debt, paid off, because his predecessor, what's his name, Thomas Sankara, stated perfectly, debt is a cleverly managed conquest. The more you do, as long as you have debt, somebody will always have a wig over you, a puppet. You become a tool. Somebody can use it to control you. So he got rid of the debt. I will say something that Dr. Pearson said earlier. I think he alluded to that, but let me go a little bit in detail. Money works in two ways, right? You're asking, how did Traore get all the money? How is he getting all this money, right? If you are able to get rid of your debt, there's two things you can do. One, you can infuse direct investment into the country economy. Or the second thing you can do, Dr. Pearson stated that correctly, you can target it to what we call off-balance sheet project, meaning if the government wants to build a road, a highway, like a whole national highway, you can put the money directly to that. It will not affect your GDP. It will not affect the amount of money in your economy to throw it off. If you want to build a hydro for every county in our country, you can do a project like that. That's called off-balance sheet. So if you don't have debt, you can do that. That's one thing. The other thing here is that, and this is a common denominator with all the Sahel presidents, the Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. They came in via military rule, but what are we seeing right now? They're gradually, in front of our eyes, transitioning from military rule to industrialists, people who are constantly thinking about how to industrialize the country. They're not even thinking about military rule anymore, right? This is how Kagame, that people revere, this is how he came in. He came in through military style and gradually, over time, transitioned to an industrialist to get Rwanda where it is today. So this is why you're seeing with the Sahel leaders, those three guys, those three countries. I will say this quickly and I will end in terms of how do we get the money. Professor Kennedy always talks about this. Sam Jackson, in as much as I don't like him, he knows his stuff. He always talks about this, and I'm also a big proponent of it. Securitize your concessions. Securitize them, meaning you can put those things together, the B Mountains and the whatever gold mine, the Kavala resources and all these other concessions, and use it. I think you said it earlier. There is money in the country. Issue a bond, let people buy into it. Liberians will partake in it, but you'll have investors from other countries as well coming into it. You can use that money, one, to pay off your debt. The rest of it, you target it, as Dr. Pearson rightly stated, to projects. If you want to have a hydro in every county, you're able to do that. Or even if you want to divide the country into maybe 4 segments and have hydros in those segments, you can do that. Within 5 years or less, you can have the whole country electrified, right? I will say this quickly and I will end. This is why I said we don't have leaders, but we have people who are just self-centered. I was in Liberia recently. I had the ability to sit on a negotiation. It just happened by default. A friend of mine works in Grand Bassa. He was going there to fix an electrified camp that was actually used for BHP Billiton that was in the country in 2009. When they left, those assets were sold to Kavala Resources. Kavala Resources right now is trying to liquidate that asset. Here's the point. The assets, there are three bidders. One of them is a Chinese firm, right? The people are in a camp right now exploring it. The MDA only has iron ore, but the Chinese were able to discover gold. So they're trying to amend that agreement. In the place that these people are doing exploration, that town, after Cotton Tree, you go to Sunny Way on Grand Bassa Highway, which is literally 30 minutes or less from the airport on the other side. There is no government representation in that place to follow these people every day, to go follow them to see when they're going to do exploration, to see what they're discovering, how much gold they're discovering. The only people we had was someone from EPA. We want biodiversity, the biodiversity people. So you have a state-owned natural resources that another country it's constantly exploring every day. But you don't have one government representation there. That once they're done, they're going to go to the government and negotiate on their own terms without you even knowing what they have found, how much they have found, but you go negotiate. And why? Because they will be bringing money in front of you. This is why I always say this. We're a passive group of people. We lack the gall. We lack the boldness it takes to transform a country. I know you asked me about money, but I think the easiest way to do this is to nationalize our resources, one, and then securitize them to raise the capital to do that. But the question is, the bigger question to all of us, who has that mindset and who has the power to do that? I yield.
All right. Thank you. Who's next? All right. I think everyone has spoken.
I haven't. I haven't. I will go.
Oh, you haven't? All right.
No.
Before you go, let me announce the number to call: 605 313-6004. Don't hesitate to enter the code 791-403#, and you will have the opportunity to participate in this exciting debate. We posted the number also in both Facebook and YouTube feed, and it's on the screen as well. If you can call, I think Sir Waller is calling today. He said to me, Mr. Number, go ahead.
That would be the day. Anyway, we're talking solutions here. First of all, let me go back to something Elvis said about, the government tapping into various, sources for talent, including the diaspora. I think that's a good thing. Examples abound. Jerry Rawlings, he kept on it until, he kept being rejected, but eventually he was able to tap into the Ghanaian diaspora, and look where Ghana is today. It's not only because of the diaspora, but it's part and parcel of what has happened to Ghana. So I think President Sirleaf tried to do that. Yeah, we all remember Dr. Sayed from I think the World Bank and other people, and that's how this whole compensation, out of this world compensation for Liberians. I think that's how it was begun. And then our legislature, of course, they latched onto it, and now look where that got us. But of course, that attempt really didn't go well. We all know of the 68 or so agreements that her government, signed. I think only 2 of those, according to the experts, will really stand up to scrutiny. But yeah, that is something that I think can be done. Then there was the question of Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso is nationalizing, the production. All of that. With Liberia, we have the largest rubber farm in the world. We have the largest maritime, registry in the world. We have last year, Leti report Liberia generated $1.4 billion in revenue. So we have money. The problem we're having is the management, the judicious management of the resources that we have. I think that is our problem. Gabriel here is an expert. He can give advice to government. Sam Jackson, you're talking about, even all of us here. But the problem we have is we have a government problem, we have a management problem in Liberia, and we got to face up to it. We have to take the deliberate decision that we will manage our resources judiciously, and that's the only way we're going to make progress. Our poverty is not because of the lack thereof. I think it's the other. I think we have too much of it, and we're throwing it away to the breeze. That is our problem. We
Mr.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you a question because I completely disagree with the resource issue.
Okay.
Look, I mean, we have to be honest. Gabriel is a finance guy. In the grand scheme of things, $1.2 billion, even $5 billion is not enough to transform a country. And we're not even hitting 5 billion, let alone $2 billion to really transform a country. So I think when we say we're rich, $1 billion is a lot of money to you and I on a personal level. But in a country of 5 million people, it's pennies. It's not sufficient enough to build, the highways, to pay government officials, to render services is not sufficient. That's why we're listed as being a poor country. They put into account our resources and other things. We're still a poor country. So when we use this wrong information that we're a wealthy nation, it's not true. Wealth is actualized. Potential is something that we can say we have potential, but right now as it's saying, our actualized wealth is very low. We're a poor country. So saying that we raised $1.2 billion, that's enough to build a country, it's not even close to it.
So,
So
Evers, let me give
Hang on,
Evers,
hang on, Mr. Z. I'm
Evers.
not done yet. I'm not
Hold-
done yet. I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
So let me disagree with you too, Elvis, and I respect your analysis a lot. I'm not gonna lie, but first of all, I did not say 1.2. First of all, it's 1.4 billion, and I did not say that is the panacea for the problem that plagued Liberia. It is an example of mismanagement, is what I'm saying. Out of 1.4 billion, we brought in $182 million. How can that happen? With that kind of ratio, how do you expect us to develop the country? We have the largest maritime registry. I don't know what we bring home, but I know it's pennies on the dollar. Hmm?
it's about to
We
go
have the
away too.
biggest rubber farm. We can't even produce slippers in our own country.
Yeah.
That's the point I'm making. I'm not saying, the 1.4 billion alone would develop Liberia. No, but if we manage that judiciously, it's a collective total sum of what we can put together to raise that. That's what Burkina Faso is doing. It's not just one source that is giving them, is flourishing their economy. But what I was trying to say is we have several sources we can tap into and put them together, and we can do better than we're doing. But I'll pass it on to you.
Thank you, Mr.
I,
I was just about to say, right, and Gabriel can speak to this. When you're talking about wealth, and Evers, you know this very well. When we say Liberia is wealthy, the iron ore deposit, that's worth. The gold deposit we have, that's worth.
And I'm
The
sorry,
diamond,
Anthony,
that's worth.
we have a smaller
All
land
right.
mass, we have a
And,
small
and, and, and,
population.
and Evans, you also know that when you're looking at land, land is a major factor of production. That's resources, and economists will argue. That's worth. How do we cultivate this now to turn it into liquid cash is the problem. So when people say
That's
we
right.
are rich, they are right. That's how I see it.
so what I wanted to say quickly, it's Elvis. I think maybe we look at this in a linear perspective, but I think you should look at to. I think Mr. Nangwe rightly pointed that out.
Mr.
The
Nambe,
iron ore that we
you
have
go
in
fly
Liberia,
PhD or the doctor thing is coming to you.
the iron ore that we have in Liberia, had we negotiated those concessions rightly so, we will be bringing in billions of dollars annually. Go look at those concessions. I had the privilege to read 5 of them, just 5. The way they were structured are even horrible. So I absolutely believe that we are rich. We are a very rich country. One, we just don't know how to privatize those to get the best value out of those resources. Two, the way we negotiate our concessions is horrible. We put people in front of those experienced individuals, and they eat us for lunch every time. And when you go read those contracts, sometimes you will cry and throw those documents away, but you'll go pick it back up and continue to read it while you're crying and say, how can we as a country, with lawyers, credible lawyers, you go negotiate these kind of deals where a country, let me say this quickly, right? Let me say this quickly. Where you sign a deal with a subsidiary that is in your country, but that subsidiary in that contract, that same contract, is paying 50% management fee to the parent company before you even get to take your cut. But yeah, we were there, and those were put right in the contract. That way, you're not even let's say I even get $100 for every iron ore I take. $50 is going to my parent company before you and I will talk about negotiating your royalty fee, your taxes, or for the $50 that is left. This is how those 66 concessions were structured. Go look at them. Go read them. If you have the privilege, go read them and go see the kind of mineral those people were taking out of the country, and they continue to do.
Thank you, Gabriel.
So,
our neo-progressive commentator is in the motherland. It is after 1 there, and he needs to go and get some, tropical or organic sleep. So
some organic sleep. That's right.
So, let's go ahead. Let's get your closing argument. We'll let you go. Thank you for making this time. We appreciate that.
Yeah, it was a pleasure being on the show tonight, gentlemen, and to our viewers out there, and to Glennie who was with us tonight. Listen. Look, for me, two things stand out before I leave you guys. Two things. One, and I think Mr. Carter put it right. Why would we allow someone to take what is on our soil and give us 4% and 3% on what they find? When the Constitution itself says that when I even buy the land, what is under the land is not for me. It's in it. If I buy the land, I own the physical land, but anything under the soil, any valuable item found on the soil is not for me. It's for the government. But then, interestingly, the thing that is not for me, the citizen of the country becomes the owner of the mining company, and then they decide to give the country back 4%, 3%, and on top of that 4 and 3%, the government give them tax waiver for materials they bring into the country on top of that. So you got about giving them right back the very money they're paying to us. And they're exploiting everything from all of us and giving us nothing in return. Now, a second thing, look, Elvis, let me say this, right? Some of the great economists in the world today, some of the successful countries in the world today don't have what we refer to as multiple source of investment. They just got one source of resource income, like Botswana. Then it'll just tell you diamond, right? Like we're talking about Burkina Faso. They're talking about just gold mine. So I think it goes beyond how much you think you can gather as opposed to how well you can manage what you have. That will bring you the most results. And for Liberia, Elvis, we are rich. We got silver, we got gold, we got diamond, we got iron ore, and the deposit of those minerals far exceeds the population of our country in terms of their returns. That in Botswana, all of the young people that go to school from beginner to college and graduate without paying a dime, and some of them are even compensated for going to school. And the place is as dry as the middle of the Sahara. So I don't understand why in Liberia we think that we don't have it. And I will just say it in our closest answer. Elvis, if we can just put $1 billion in agriculture, whether we taking on loan or we raise it ourselves, if we put $1 billion in agriculture and have a strong agricultural structure that will work for us, that will impact every crop and rice as our primary, including cash crop in the rice production. and it ensure that Firestone and Jetty, whatever rubber they're producing, a percentage of that rubber is processed or manufactured in our country. And the same with the iron ore, a percentage of the iron ore is manufactured into value-added product in the country, and you can carry the remainder ones. We will not be talking about money in this country. No. But we being exploited, and now that we have the situation we have, we feel comfortable in saying, it is what it is, and let it be. No, I think we should get some spines, and we should take some hard decisions. Like Donald Trump is trying to quarrel with the South Africans, but they're saying no. The lands were badly distributed during the apartheid regime, and today we're going to take some of the land back free of charge. We're going to redistribute them for equality and for equity in land distribution in the country. We need to take some bold decisions, and if we drive out some other companies because of what they will feel about business, politics, let them go. But again, it goes back to what my comrade said. Bad leadership probably will be the cause. We will not be able to do that, and that's sad for Liberia. Very sad. Gentlemen, have a good night. And I should say, you enjoy yourself there, because I stay in the evening. You're enjoying yourself late evening. Enjoy yourself. I'm going to take my nap and wake up in the morning to go some fresh food. And get some fresh food. Anson, I'm not going to be eating. I'm not going to be eating your meat buying from an African store that last there. But 9 months before I got to America, I'm going to be eating fresh meat from
Now, man, don't forget to go to that old man Lapapido, and get one bowl from there because it's organic. Good night, brother.
Good night, gentlemen.
All right, gentlemen. Let's bring it on. We pass 2 hours, 1 minute right now. Let me get your closing argument. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first, and I'll be quick.
Go ahead, Ellis. Mm-hmm.
Man, look, respectfully, right? Being rich is a state of being. If you want to be more correct, you can say we're resource rich and we're cash poor. A man living in poverty has the potential to be rich, but a rich man is not living in poverty. Being rich means that you have the ability to get what you want. You have surplus, you have abundance. That makes you rich. It means you have more than you need. You have a surplus. We don't have a surplus in Liberia. These people who list us as the eighth poorest country in the world, they did mathematics, they did math, they did certain things, national GDP, GDP per capita. They look at all of these things and say we're the eighth poorest country in the world. They're not looking at things that you haven't actualized. They're not looking at the things under the ground that you haven't actualized to bring you cash. Your wealth is not based on what you haven't actualized. Your wealth is in real cash on hand, or income driven, or income generated property giver. These things. I'm not as financially astute as you are. What I'm saying, it's not based on potential. If we were rich, they won't be lying to us and telling us we're the eighth poorest country. I always go against Liberians for this because you can sell yourself that you're a rich country. There are certain metrics that they use to measure a poor country and a rich country. For our population, that's why you have the HDMI, the Human Development Index. That's why you have the GDP per capita. All of these things tell you whether or not you're a rich country. And when they crunch the numbers, they say we're the eighth poorest, one of the poorest country in the entire world. So you can say, oh, we got all these minerals on the ground, we haven't actualized it. That makes us a poor country. And I don't want to belittle our country. It's just a reality, and it's just a fact. So I think this is a great discussion. I hope the government in the coming years, I think somebody was talking about the president have a plan to engage the diaspora. Hopefully they will come up with something like that. Maybe sign some contracts, give some concessions, quote unquote, to diasporans, Liberians who are well qualified and who hopefully will be willing to go back if the deal is sweetened for them. Not necessarily paying an exorbitant amount of money, but giving them certain assurances that when they go home, they will be protected, their lives will be secure, they will have certain amenities and certain, access to certain things that will give them some comfort back home, and they can bring that skills and transfer it back to Liberia and help bolster our economy and help bring some of that brain drain back into the country. But overall, great discussion. I love these kind of discussions, not being hyperbolic and not being so, emotional about the discussion. At least we can think and be thoughtful and give our views, in earnest. But thank you again for having me, Mr. C. I appreciate it.
Perfect. You're muted. There you go.
We have Mr. Kalebu Gonglo who just called, so let's give him 2 minutes. Mr. Gonglo, you have 2 minutes. We are closing.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Great show. I followed the show quickly. I want to just remind or say something quickly to what Mr. Carter said. You know, I worked for the government of Liberia from 2006 to 2011 for the first term of Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. And for the record, I was the secretary for the concession interministerial technical committee at the Ministry of Finance. So I was secretary to that committee for 6 years. And so that gave me the opportunity to sit in many of the procurement bid process for the different mining companies. You know, in fact, the first 2 years of my experience, I worked to Kofi Woods, he's still alive, and said, listen, I want to resign from government. You know, it was my first experience in government, you know, and I said, I want to walk away because what I'm seeing here is not what we thought this country should be about. You know, and I will make this statement, not having much time to expand on this. I work in government and after 6 years, came to the conclusion that Liberians are generally low IQ people with less self-confidence. They get in public service. Even the smartest student who sat in class with you and was getting A+ and graduate summa cum laude, get in public service, all of a sudden they want consultant to do their job, not themselves. They rely on external opinion to validate who they are. I have many times argument in committee rooms on those. You know, like I remember seeing all hands in public service come to me and say, is this your first government job? And I said, yes, I will see why you're so, emotional and activist about some of the positions you take. Look right across Botswana, like Dr. Pearson talked about, and you look across South Africa, just compare the two countries. I tell you what, is that Anglo Goa or is it because Julius Malema talked about this eloquently. Is in Angola, and they're sharing the profit sharing agreement with the Botswana government, and that particular mining company is like 50-51. In South Africa, they give little to South Africa. And Julius Malema will say, how can the same company is in Botswana giving more money to Botswana, and the same company is in South Africa give us less money? I think that explains how these companies get away with, depending on the leadership in the country. We should be able to get more out of what we get in that, because we've had corrupt leaders who themselves rely on these external companies to maintain power. So they just give our resources to them. No, there are more, I know there are more I could say if I were on the show tonight and picking maybe 3 minutes or 4 minutes, I could say a lot more. But where we are in Liberia, we need a different mindset, a different way of thinking in order to even look at that. Liberia has not only structural challenge, but also has issue of self-confidence. We need external force. Our public actors always need external people. They'll come to me and say, the consultant say something that they themselves know is wrong, but they want consultant to validate. They put consultant as a way of convincing the public. It's a culture in Liberian public service, and I declared that many times. Consultants say, and many times these consultants are people who just come from school and they come to Africa to get little experience so they can come back and get a bigger job. They are not even experts.
All right, Mr.
That's all I want to contribute. I don't want to take more of your time.
Yeah, Mr. Gonglo, thank you so much. There, we value your contribution. We value your contribution here. You know, that is why the consultants say. So, don't these institutions or agencies have research departments? Can the research department not do the research and bring the answers, and then you go pay consultants? I really don't understand it. Then, you know, I run a small business in Liberia. In a day and age, all right, where a simple question, you know, to Google or, you know, a type in YouTube to ask a question and you find an expert explaining the thing to you free. Because the expert created a channel where he can provide education, provide expert opinion on a particular topic. And people across the world go there to work, and that person makes the money. So he's prepared to provide substantive information on an issue because he knows that when that video is of quality, people will keep coming back and watching it. And that's how he keeps making money. That's enough research for the people, to go through. What? I mean, you made me president now. Kochonte say I cancel it out. We don't even have money. Let the research department or the people in these agencies who are responsible for research do the damn research. That's what they are there for. And, you're paying researcher, you're paying consultants, and you don't even have enough money. Share nonsense. Let get to you. Gabriel, your closing.
Yeah, I'll be very quick.
Yeah, please.
Thank you again for you guys allowing me here. I know this is not my era, but I came in. You guys kicked me around a little bit, but I stood my ground. So thank you for having me. Quickly, I'll be very quick. I think if we talked about the Nima County senatorial race. I think, as I said earlier, the onus is on the people. You guys have to figure out what you want your county to be, and then look among those 3 or 4 candidates, or however many candidates we have, and pick your right person to lead you. Do not go by this person was here before, or they've been here, they're the godfather, or they're related to the godfather, and all of this shenanigan. Look at their history, look at what they have done, and look to where, most importantly, they want to take the county, and then pick your leader. Lastly, on the issue with Burkina Faso and what we can learn from Burkina Faso. As I said earlier, if we can have someone who can nationalize all of those concessions and bring all of those assets under the state ownership, right, and get the right value for them, we will leapfrog from not even being at the industrial revolution, the first industrial revolution, to maybe being at the third or fourth industrial revolution, maybe in the next 10, 15 years, right? Because of the kind of money we will get from that. Lastly, even if we can't do that, the next thing we could do, I think there's Putu Mountain that I heard has some, people are talking about uranium. I don't know how true that is. Do what Uganda did. Up to now, Uganda has oil. They have not touched it. Why? Because they want to make sure that once they do, they're able to process that oil in our country. So they've never touched it. There are investors that come and throw bits at them. Oh, allow us to mine the oil. We will give you this amount of money. They have not touched it. We can do what Uganda did. Lastly, but not the least, I know this sounds like a broken record, we need bold men and women to lead Liberia. People who are visionary, people who are industrialists. This whole idea of coming, the moment you take power, you can't run to the West, go to China, visiting all these other countries to go beg. It's over. You have the natural resources right in your country. Think like an industrialist, that when you industrialize a country, it will propel itself to where you need to go, because everyone will have a job. You will have people being self-sufficient in our country, and that you will have a massive tax base that will become an oil machine in our country to propel it to where we need to go. Thank you for having me, and I yield on that.
It's sad that, if Meta been getting a raise, the people would now vote for me. I'm the smartest guy to ever work on the face of the planet when it comes to bold leadership. Others will not believe me until you give me the opportunity. You will be happy, my man. You'll be happy. I will not be that somebody say I can use wheelbarrow, but then your wheelbarrow costing almost $1 million. Jeff Victor Number is focused on Labrador political analyst. He gets the last word. Mr. Number, take us home.
Yeah, thank you very much. Great show. So when you were reminiscing about Liberia, I didn't have a chance, Elvis then when I know people like Errol Francis, Mitchell and Sons, gold medal gin, aromatic schnapps. We had all of those produced in Liberia. Sophie's ice cream, all those. But of course, my friend Yvonne Bright is doing shark ice cream now, so at least but yeah. There's a lot that used to happen in Liberia. I know Sam Wallow was here, we the one broke it, but let Sam Wallow have his day. But look, what Gabriel anyway is some of the things that I was talking about. First of all, I think we're putting too much on the electoral system if we expect them to fish out the bad ones. We're the ones who are coronating the bad ones. How can Dr. Yeager tell me Koluba is the best example of it? Koluba represents the race to the bottom. He is not a role model who should be. Look, the complexities of running government, the oversight, that's their responsibility. They should be overseeing the B Mountain, the Asalamete, all of these people. That's his responsibility. But it is because of the performance of this current government and the government before it that people like Yeke, then they look like Jesus Christ. He comes in the public square and makes so much noise. He's supposed to scrutinize the budget. They can hold that budget and not approve it. He has that power. Why is he not using it? He comes in the square there and make all kinds of noise and cause Marcos. That's why I'm making the best legislator. Please, give me a break. We need to do better. And we can do better. So we're watching the raising number. We segue into that. We're watching the raising number. I hope our people will elect the candidate who will help that county. Nimba is a giant county. It has a lot of good it can do for the country, the breadbasket, and all of that. We need somebody who will help that county. The superintendent there is doing a lot of good. She needs a lawmaker who will collaborate with her and do much, much better. That is what we're looking for. So we, the politicians, we need to do better. We need to do the best and try to put forth the best. And that's why I was disappointed when Alex Cummings was rejected by the voters. I thought really he provided a very, 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 very good solution to some of the problems that are plaguing us today. But, the people had their say. So I'm hoping, our people make the right choices and put our people in government. Now we're talking about what we can do in terms of, producing revenue and all that. There's a lot we can do. And, I know Elvis made his argument. I'm not going to argue, but, maybe I can say Liberia may not be rich, but it has the potential to be rich. Maybe that will satisfy him. But we have a small landmass. We have a small population. We have a lot of money we can use to make our lives better, my brother. It's just that, we're not using the money wisely. What we're talking about here, is some of the problem. We have these young guys, you young experts here, the government, the arrogance of this government. They think they know it all and they don't know a thing. Because if they knew it 12 months in now, they would have done something different. What have they done? Nothing. They came to rescue us. Where is the rescue? They came to rescue us. But they're so arrogant, they will not ask for help. You got 2 former presidents sitting there in the country. You can't get a UN Security Council seat. And you think you go put Daniel Sano, a deputy minister, he cussing out the former president. That's what you call governance? Is that what governance looked at to us? So, we need to do better. This is on us. We continue to return these people to every time they go to the poll, we bring them back into office. So it's on us. So I'm hoping we'll continue to educate our people. They're getting there. They know now to reject a bad performing government. Hopefully they'll begin to also reject bad performing elected officials down the ballot, not just the presidency. But thank you very much, Gracious. It was great being here. I enjoyed being here. Thank you for the opportunity.
I have not started my campaign.
Somebody's already voting for you for what now? Where are you voting for you for?
Somebody's already voting for me, you see.
He waiting for you to give him a bag of rice. He better have it ready.
We got to test you. We got to make it a magic screen, Nukuta, and see how you do it again.
The person is only promising to vote for me, because they see something in me, they can see it.
I know, right?
They can
I'm
see
voting
the fire.
you.
They're voting for the promise.
Yeah. Anyway,
the potential.
Yeah, gentlemen, thank you so much. It was a very substantive debate. We represented our country here. I hope policy leaders who have listened and those who will listen later will know that we have to do it ourselves and we can't look anywhere else. Anything that comes as a help, it should be a plus. But we have everything in us to make it happen. Our friends are doing better. We can do better. We tried to do this before. We can do it again. On that note, the song says we are all Liberians, and that song is taking us home. Tomorrow is Saturday, And we will be on the radio. KI Radio Focus on Liberia will be on the radio. We will be on there 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We will be on the radio for 2 hours. Gentlemen, continue to watch the chat room. And those of you who want to be part of this, you should join the morning show and be on the radio. So
I would if when I get my haircut, then I'll join the radio. I'll look
man, you
decent.
don't need a haircut. You are revolutionary, man. You don't need a haircut.
I'm looking at old rebel right now. So let me get my haircut first.
You can't see my revolutionary. Yeah, my man. You
You
don't
let
need a
that
haircut.
still out. You let that child
But
still out.
Anthony, I told Deacon I was going to confirm with Dennis since we're talking now. You want to know whether he's coming on tomorrow. I haven't seen the flyer yet.
Yeah, I will work with Dennis to finalize the arrangements, and we'll reach out to Deacon. Deacon is always ready for Saturday, so
he's already ready.
There. So tell him to be ready. We'll be ready.
To be on the standby. Yeah.
Thank you. So the sons, the son, we are all Liberians, is taking our own. Gentlemen, thank you again, and bye bye.
See you next.